It's important to wait for the plant to get the red berries before we harvest it. This is how we clean the the needles off and the outer bark, because it's the inner bark that we want. And a lot of elders have multi-purposes for the devil's club. Some of them bath in it, and others drink it for energy. And it's a good remedy for influenza or bronchitis, any types of flu ailments, high blood pressure, diabetes. It's high on the list of medicines and for our cultural purposes. It's one of the strongest medicines we have for our First Nations. It's used in many different cultures. Many nations use Devil's Club. We're now here in the bush, and I just walked past a nice big patch of alder trees, and in my language we call alder glagwadas, and it's a bark mixed with it could be steeped for tea by itself, and it's good for stomach ailments, gas problems or stomach aches, minor stomach flus and stuff. But the stronger batch of mix is the glagwadas and weegos. Weegos is Devil's Club. So I harvest it every spring, and I try to make sure I have an abundance on hand. I harvest for a lot of elders, and so there's a tree right beside us here, and I prefer to take the younger trees, a few strips, and that's how you maintain your medicine area, by not over harvesting and over cutting. So I just wanted you to see an example of how much I take from an individual tree. I'm just describing this tree because it's helped me. It's the Uwid tree. In my language it's called glumka. Glumka is the Celtic word, and it's also a Tsimshian word for the tree itself, and it's a very strong tree. Medicinal extraction is called Taxol, I believe, and it's but now they're able to patent it, so they don't. I find that it's a battle in resource values, where logging companies don't acknowledge it as a valued commodity, and I'm just bringing that into light because it's a very valuable tree to me. It's helped me in my life. I speak about it a little bit more, but I just wanted to share that with you in brief, and we're going to go on and look at some different medicinal teas. Smells very sweet, so I just wanted to give you an example of what I do every spring and summer with the Labrador tea puyas. Keep picking a few more here, but as you can see behind me, there's another Uwid tree here. So this place is just loaded with numerous different types of medicinal teas and trees and plants and alder and Uwid trees. So all the names I'm very familiar with growing up and using, and so the example that I have of usage is watching elders prepare it. So it's the best smelling tea ever. So good. They say that when you harvest medicinal stuff like flowers and the herbs, you want it to have at least a couple of days of sun where it gets more of the energy flowing in the bark and in the plant itself. So I more or less, I look forward to the nice day to get out and get picking. So that's key to know, and a lot of people they're unaware of it when they're in the bush, how much value there is out there. So I'm really keen on trying to share my knowledge too, and I do harvest for elders and for people that do orders from me. So I do trade my medicines for whatever, of value, of equal of value that somebody else might have. like someone in Clumb 2, I'll trade for sockeye, you know, for Devil's Club and medicine roots or something. Because they prefer the medicine than the money. I would offer to buy the sockeye or the salmon, and they go, no, we would like to trade with you for medicine. So, I mean, the medicinal stuff and the money, it all works for me. And it's quite a bit of a tedious work, but the rewards are great. People love the medicinal use of this. And it is a false hellebore. My language, we call it Oxali. Oxali is it's a spiritual strength medicine, and it cures various ailments of arthritis, steamed in your house, influenza, bugs. It cures headaches, back pain, muscle pain for people that suffer from rheumatism or arthritis. So this is part of the Wild and Wholesome experience package. What I would like to see, to teach people about, you know, the different types of medicinal and tonic properties of different barks and medicine.
My name's Cassandra, and Jordan and I have been working together for quite a while on medicinal plants, and I also cook wholesome food of all the food that Jordan brings home to me, and I preserve it and cook it. So it's the best food you've ever had.
Here we have our Labrador tea that we're picking in the sleeve that I've described in the bush. We'll take that out and we'll dry that totally separate on a different piece of drying.
Careful when you're using it. It's a poison root, and they traditionally would use it for smoking, bathing in. It's very, very powerful.
It's for washing, not smoking like a cigarette. That's for just they burn it and they use the smoke to cleanse the house of bad spirits and energy.
Or they'll hang it above doors.
And when it's used medicinally, it's used in very small amounts, and it's a concentrated strength. It's considered very poisonous, so they'd use it in very low amounts, boiled in a pot that would be only specifically used for teeing it up into for a bath, and it's used to steep and put into a basin, which is used cloth for like sore places like the neck or the shoulders or the knee. It's just used very specifically in wholesome experiences, and we just wanted to show a few of the finished products that we have. Here's the yarrow that I just harvested 2 days ago. It takes a little while to dry, but here's some dry stuff that I'd picked maybe 2 weeks prior, and it's nice and dry, and we just package it in paper bags to keep it from getting moisture on it. And here's some puyas, which I described to you earlier in the bush harvesting, and this is some other dried stuff that we've harvested in the past as well. This is something that I harvest yearly. It is the black seaweed, Paphyra, and in our language we call it shgust. Shgust is the word we use to describe the seaweed. It hangs on a rock and in patches, so we tend to get it when it first starts to grow and it's nice and black. It gets a little longer, it kind of loses a bit of its black gold color, so it's very tasty, very salty, and very prized within our trade circles of if we pound 1 bucket of seaweed crushed, for every 5 buckets of crushed seaweed, it's equivalent to 1 equal-sized bucket of grease. So
Hooligan grease.
Hooligan grease. So we haven't done it for a while, but it's one of the choice currencies for trade in my. We'd love to share our knowledge and our experience with you.